Today we're going to be dividing polynomials, and a little bit different way is doing synthetic division. So it's not like a long division, it's kind of like a short little trick or shortcut, but you do have to know specific steps in order to do synthetic division. So before we can do synthetic division, we have to look at a couple things. So when we divide here by x minus 3, it has to have a coefficient of 1, and it has to have an exponent of 1 as well. We cannot have anything any larger than either of those. So as long as you have those two things in place, we can use synthetic division. So first thing, I want to take what I'm dividing by. So in this case, I have this x minus 3. So the opposite of minus 3 would be a positive 3. Or I could look at it as x minus 3 is equal to 0, so that whenever I add 3 to both sides, I get this x is equal to 3. So this is what I'm going to put here. And I like to create a box from here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and look at our coefficients from the first polynomial. So in this case, I have a coefficient of 1, a coefficient of 3, and a coefficient of negative 12. You are always going to just simply drop this down. All right, next thing. You want to take and we're going to multiply these. So 3 times 1 gives me 3. So I'll put this here. Now this is a positive 3 and a positive 3. That's simply just addition. We're going to add 3 plus 3, which gives me 6. And then again, we're going to multiply. 3 times 6 gives me 18. That is a positive 18, so negative 12 plus 18, and that is going to give me 6. All right, I have nothing left here to do, so we're going to stop here. Next thing we have to do, and there's two ways that I like to look at this. The first way is I like to think about this as my remainder, and then I simply just go, this is my constant, and then I have an x here. Okay, I like to just go backwards, remainder, constant, and then you could go in order here for x, x squared, and so forth. The other thing to think about is if this is a square, I have to start with 1 less. Okay, so that would be a simple x and so on, because x times x gives me x squared. So you can look at it that way. So the way that we would write our final answer here is this would be just 1x or simply just x. I do not like to use coefficients of 1 plus 6. And then the way we write our remainder, this is going to be a positive 6. So 6. And then divide by whatever we were dividing by here, which is x minus 3. Okay, so there's that one. So let's take a look at a new problem. Notice I have a little bit more here. I have an x to the third, x squared, x, and then my constant. Again, this is an x plus 1, so I have a negative 1, coefficient of 1, coefficient of negative 1, negative 5, and 7. You can wait till then to draw your box so that you can draw the correct size box. All right, we're just going to drop this down. So here I have a 1. All right, negative 1 times 1 gives me negative 1. Add these together. So negative 1 minus 1 gives me negative 2. Again, we're going to multiply. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. We're going to add these together. Negative 5 plus 2 gives me negative 3. And again, multiply. Negative 1 times negative 3 gives me a positive 3. And so 7 plus 3 is 10. All right, so let's think about it. This is my remainder. Okay, so I could go backwards. I could say this is my constant, this is my x, and this is my x squared. Or you could simply go here. This is an x to the third, so 1 less than that would be x squared. And then just fill in your spaces to where this is your remainder. Your final answer looks like this. I have an x squared minus 2x minus 3 with a remainder of 10. That is a positive 10. So 10, and then divided by x plus 1. All right, one thing I'm going to tell you really quickly is notice here that I have x cubed, x squared, x, and then a constant. It is important that you have a place for each thing, starting with your highest degree, okay? So I want you to notice this one. Notice I only have an x to the third. So I'm going to give you just a moment and I want you to look through this problem and see if you can at least set up your box. All right, you've had a moment to look at your box, so here's what I want you to do. I didn't ask you to solve it, I just asked you to set up your box. Here you have a -1, which is going to be a +1. If we create our box, I have an x to the third, which is a coefficient of 1. But notice there's no x squared, so I need a 0. There's no x, so that's a 0. And then I have 27. Okay, so 1x to the third, 0x squared, 0x, and 27. So if you created your box, it would look like this. All right, so I'll give you a moment to do that. Okay, I gave you just a moment to try this problem on your own, so I want you to look at your answer here. So notice when we added, we're adding to 0. I have a remainder here, so constant, and then this is x and x squared. Notice it is also starting here with x cubed. You have 1 less, and work your way down with the last one being the remainder here. And so this is what you should have for a final answer.